Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live stream focusing on the future of app promotion. My name is Hannah.
Hi, I'm Austin.
We are very excited to have you here today. So Austin and I both work in the mobile app team at Google. Our goal is really to help you grow your app business. So the agenda for today will first be with Austin, where he will share some key trends and sharing more about the app industry landscape and showing some market opportunities in that field. Then moving forward to Google solutions for industry changes and speaking more here about machine learning. Then we'll progress with the app lifecycle, sharing more about mobile strategies and promotion, and finally move on to measurement and tracking.
Cool. Thanks. So yeah, to get us started, for those of us that have been awake for the last 5 years, it's been very apparent how much mobile growth has just been so entirely explosive. For most of us, our phones are probably the first thing that we pick up in the morning and probably the last thing we put down before we go to sleep. And because of that, apps are playing a critical role in this type of user behavior. And this is across genders, age groups. All these types of folks are making apps a daily part of their lives. The industry is booming with more installs than ever before in Google Play. And business intelligence company App Annie is projecting 100% growth from revenue in 2016 by 2020 on apps. But downloading an app is an investment for a user. We're not only using our data costs and storage, but there's also time invested in researching the app. In fact, only about 26 apps on average are downloaded on an average user's device. And this is depending on the market, more or less, obviously. But user expectations are higher than ever. And the purpose of an app plays a critical role for the download that this user makes. So not only are apps independently becoming a more poignant part of the overall mobile landscape, but it's also interesting to note how they relate to mobile web in general. When you actually compare mobile web to app, you can see that the loyalty and retention tends to be much higher for that of app users. Now, while only around 45% of mobile transactions are actually occurring within apps, the conversion rates in apps actually are around 3 times that of mobile web, which, again, just emphasizes the stickiness that apps offer to their customers. It's also good to note that apps are becoming an important strategic pillar, not just for app-only businesses, but across hybrid businesses as well, across all verticals. As you can see here, a sizable percentage of users across verticals have actually made an in-app purchase in the last 30 days. So this means that there's a massive opportunity for businesses across verticals to integrate some form or fashion of an app strategy to complement their core business and grow their customer base. Now, if you need further convincing of the growth trajectory of apps, a ComScore 2016 study found that 80% of the growth of time spent online is actually attributed to smartphone apps, relative to a combined 20% amongst all other screens or mediums. So, plain and simple, apps are bringing a lot more users online. And while web in general may offer broader reach and touch of potential users, the users that are acquired through apps tend to have substantially higher engagement. Taking a look at some of the screenshot of metrics here, what you'll find is that the average minutes per visit for users that are interacting with an app tends to be almost 10x of that relative to someone playing around on a mobile website. So this really just boils down to the stickiness and functionality of these types of products. So what differentiates an app customer from a web customer? Well, contrary to web, apps are great tools for your most loyal customers by offering continued accessibility and, in some instances, actually unique functionality to your users. But it's also important to note that apps are not immune to challenges in the marketplace. For example, some quick stats here. 60% of apps have actually never been downloaded. 20% of apps actually only have a one-time usage, and 95% of apps are abandoned in 1 month's time. So needless to say, from a marketing perspective, it's super critical to target the right users at the right moment to avoid encountering some of these pitfalls. So for example, finding the right balance between, let's say, a premium experience for your product and app marketing to get more customers to use your product can be super difficult, especially when app marketing alone has already become a big challenge. Competition doesn't sleep, and app store shelves are becoming fuller and fuller. Discoverability has become nearly impossible with 2.2 million apps in Google Play and 2 million apps in the App Store. The daily job of a marketer has become increasingly complex, including a lot of back and forth manual optimizations for keywords, placements, device targeting, demographic targeting, and hundreds of different campaigns and all kinds of different networks. See, all of those tasks are just stealing away your time from improving your core product. And above all, the business is no longer about chart boosting and just getting installs alone. Driving sustainable business growth for your app means thinking about lifetime value. User actions matter more and more than just being a nice little icon on your home screen, especially when you consider that on average, 17% of users make up about 85% of an app's average revenue. Therefore, it's relatively safe to say that it's super important to find the right high-value users. Key takeaway here, not all installs are created equal, and neither are your users. So now that we've got sort of a good understanding of the app landscape and opportunity, we'd like to shift focus to some of Google's solutions for these industry changes, starting specifically with learning a little bit more background on machine learning technology. Now, we'll start by giving a little bit of background around the tech and then its application to our app promotion product suite. So machine learning, funny enough, isn't actually a new concept. Machine learning is often discussed in these recent days. You hear several industries talking about it and how it's connected with revolutionary technology. But it's often forgotten that the concept and desire of automation within machine learning has actually been around for quite some time. Machine learning is actually a subset of artificial intelligence, where computer algorithms are used to autonomously learn from data and from information. In machine learning, computers don't have to be explicitly programmed, but can change and improve the algorithms themselves. The origin of this concept goes as far back as 1950 with Alan Turing, who created the Turing test to determine if a computer has real intelligence. It's based on pattern recognition, and it's using data to let computers make smart decisions. Big data is a term for data sets that are so large or complex that traditional data processing application softwares aren't good enough to deal with them. Analyzing these large data sets can find new correlations around how to face super specific challenges. Sure, this probably rings a bell. You see, machine learning algorithms actually enable computers to communicate with humans, autonomously drive cars, write and publish sports match reports, and even find terrorist suspects. Literally, the applications are limitless. I don't know if you followed last year's news about Google's DeepMind algorithm. It actually managed to beat the world champion of the highly complex and strategic game, Go. So machine learning has come a long way, and probably in our lifetime, we'll see quite a few more iterations in the future. So when you think about combining the application of this technology and action, intent, and context, you're able to drive superior ROI for your business. The outcome of your campaign is 100% customized to the actions that matter to your business. Excuse me. See, with this type of technology, there's no longer a need to exclude 1,000 keywords or 500 placements daily any longer. If you leverage the proven technology behind machine learning algorithms, you'll be in line with what roughly 80% of our customers are actively using on campaigns that they have active. This type of technology, as you can imagine, uses hundreds of signals that are quite literally only a click or a fingertip away. It's even reliable enough technology that allows our autonomous vehicles to operate themselves. So plain and simple, Google's machine learning technology has history, customer trust, and is super powerful. So when you think about taking machine learning technology and applying it to your marketing strategy, you'll find that it makes life a lot easier because it relies on facets of automation that take away some of the mundane, menial, and repetitive tasks that we as humans can't complete in real time. Excuse me. The automation and time savings that universal app campaigns, for example, provide are beneficial for your workforce, as they can now concentrate on more strategic tasks for your business. 80% of time is spent dealing with low-value operative tasks, while only 20% is spent with strategic work. So universal app campaigns and machine learning technology allow us to work smarter, not harder. We and our machine learning tech can do the legwork so you can focus on building an experience that users will love. Use universal app campaigns and the technology behind them to automatically optimize for what matters to your business. Don't waste time with hours of manual work on keyword and placement optimization. Plug in your KPIs and work on your app user experience, and UAC can do all the hard operative work for you. Excuse me. So the key takeaway here is universal app campaigns are revolutionizing the daily work life for a marketer towards more strategic tasks and give you more time to concentrate on your user experience. We take your KPIs and we combine them with those Google's powerful signals to help power this machine learning algorithm, to build patterns behind the specific user profile you're looking for, and to determine the right moment to show your ad on the right device model in front of the right type of users. Some examples of these specific user signals are what they look for when they browse, or videos that they engage with on YouTube, or perhaps Play Store specific data. Google's job has always been to connect people with what they're interested in the moments that they're interested. And apps are no different, because it's important that we present your product to users at the right moment when they're looking for you. And here's just an overview of what some apps and verticals are doing to leverage some of the events within universal app campaigns. Excuse me, I'm recovering from pretty severe allergies. Sorry about that. As you can tell, each of the specific verticals have their own series of events that they're actively tracking, whether it be through their own analytics platform or through tools that they have access to, and then passing that data back into AdWords as a platform and having universal app campaigns and other campaigns point to them as success metrics. Whether you are looking to target users that are likely to level up in your game, or for someone in the travel industry that's looking to book a flight, as long as we can track it, we can optimize toward it.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you, Austin. So now we'll move forward with sharing more around the app lifecycle and mobile strategies. So until now, we wanted to share with you some more insight about the key trends and opportunities. We also discussed about challenges and why it's important to take those into consideration. So moving forward with the lifecycle of an application. So it's very important as an advertiser, business strategist, to really understand where does your app stand today. We can divide it in some sort of 4 different stages. So whether you are in the beginning where you have just launched a new app and you will be looking to acquire a new set of new users, you will try to drive as many installs as possible. Once you have succeeded to acquire these users, you want to make sure that you activate them, that they get properly onboarded, that they start to sign up, register. Once you have succeeded to activate this subset of users, you would want to gain their advocacy, where actually you have the users engaged, they start sharing your app to their friends or via social media, and that's also a way for you to increase the brand awareness of your app. And then once you come to that stage, you may want to consider actually the most valuable part, monetization via in-app purchases and ad optimization. As you can see, what is very complex is that users can drop off at many points of time during that life cycle, and you want to make sure that you have control over it. Furthermore, speaking more about the advertisement sources, here it's interesting statistics showing how users actually discover apps through their smartphones. So 50% out of search ads, 47% out of banners in apps, 45% banners in sites, and 43% through video ads. So this shows also the diversity of different sources on how we can actually try to attract new users. So if we look at the universal app campaigns and listening also to what Austin mentioned before around the challenges, that we really want to focus on the 17% of valuable users. We believe that universal app campaigns can really help you to solve these challenges by making sure that we reach out to the right user at the right time. So we want to be communicating to these users while they are discovering apps on Play, while they are searching on google.com, or when they are active in other applications via AdMob, or surfing through the web, and also when they watch different videos on YouTube. So maybe some of you are not very familiar with universal app campaigns. So we wanted to give like a clear overview of what that kind of campaign works. So basically, first, what the system does once we launch these campaigns, we start showing ads to multiple placements, categories of apps, and all Google's inventories. And we will start collect data about users. So we will look at the actions, so the installs, the level of in-app events, also look at Google Play data. Furthermore, as Austin mentioned before, we look at the content, so understanding the user attributes such as device, age, location, time of the day, and also what they have been searching in the past, for example. And finally, we will look at the intent, so whether these users are more active on search, display, Play Store, and YouTube. And then what the smart algorithm and machine learning do behind the scene is collecting all this data and making sure to redistribute the ads to the right user through the right inventory and at the right time. So this really helps us to leverage all Google's inventory, so mainly search, display, AdMob, and YouTube. And actually, what we have seen is many advertisers keep focusing on one segment, one targeting at a time. They really want to, for example, just start on focusing on gender or age or app category. And often what we have seen in terms of results is by being that focused in segmentations, we tend to lose many opportunities. And thanks to universal app campaigns and Google's artificial intelligence, we are able to actually look at the user and their actions from a multidimensional perspective. And what the machine will do behind the curtains is looking at the quality of all your visuals and videos. It will look at your bid and also the probability for the user to install and engage inside your app. Then together, we are able to also steer the optimizer by adjusting bids if needed, budgets, and also working on creatives to make sure that we apply all best practices. So until quite recently, we have started now to launch the second strategy with universal app campaigns that gives you the possibility to look beyond the installs. So be able to actually target new users, but that will be more likely to engage inside your app. So here is how it looks on the interface, where basically here it's a dating app that has been tracking multiple in-app events, such as registrations, first-time purchase, likes, charms, and more. And once you decide to optimize to one in-app event that is valuable for you, you can select it here in the bid strategy. And here are the best practices. So in the beginning, you may start already, even now, you may already have universal app campaigns running, optimizing towards installs. And we recommend as a next step to start tracking in-app events to have clear value of your user engagement. And then make sure that you adopt this new strategy by launching a new universal app campaigns, selecting one in-app event that you want to optimize towards. And when you select an in-app event, you have to make sure that it has happened at least 10 times per day per campaign to make sure that we have enough data, of course, to optimize towards it. We recommend as well to not adjust bids by more than 20% and too often, as it can also impact the conversion optimizer. In terms of budget, we advise to have at least a daily budget set as 50 times higher than the target CPA to give enough space for the algorithm to operate and maximize conversions. Also, if you have the second UAC in parallel, we recommend to have a target CPI 20% higher, as we will aim for more quality. And then usually we start evaluating results from 2 weeks up to 4 weeks to make sure that the system has run all the tests and optimizing towards the best users. And ideally, we recommend to keep the same targeting in terms of location, languages, and more. So here is a good overview as well, where, again, how important it is on your end to understand where does your app stand today. We want to help you to set proper KPIs and goals, and the first step is defining where you are. And according to these stages, we are able to apply the right promotion strategy. So whether starting on the left, you are at the first stage where you want to, you have launched an app recently and you want to keep growing your user base, we recommend to run universal app campaigns that will optimize towards installs. Then, as mentioned before, you would want to bring them to the activation stage where you increase the lifetime value of your users, make sure that they are engaged inside your app. Then we will recommend to run the second universal app campaigns, optimizing towards in-app events. You may want to run also a track one campaign in parallel, depending on your strategy and the time of the year and brand. Third, once you are at the maturity phase where you have a large set of users and you want to make sure that you keep increasing the engagement levels, so keep these existing users active and re-engage with them, we can help you building re-engagement campaigns through display and search. And finally, you may be at a phase of declinization, we would say in French, so decline level of your users. So you may want to keep working on your brand, keep acquiring new users. As Austin mentioned, the competition is very rough in the market. You have to make sure that you keep a good momentum and that you're on top of everything. So here we can help you working with more performance brand campaigns with YouTube, or also focusing on a customer match campaign by trying, for example, to target your existing web users to drive them to your app. So here we want to finish this session with two case studies that have applied some best practices. So starting with Text Now, which is a text app that has had as a goal to grow a new user base, drive more installs through their app. So they started by running universal app campaigns. They set a clear target CPI and succeeded to increase the user base by 300K new installs per month. And this represents 40% lower cost in install. And thanks to these campaigns as well, they have succeeded to climb up the Google Play rank by 15 places. The second app is Trivago, the travel app that you're probably familiar with. So their goal was to focus on the lifetime value of the user. So they had a large set of new users, but they want to make sure that they stay engaged and take action inside the app. And it was perfect timing for them to start running universal app campaigns, optimizing towards valuable in-app events that are important to their business. And that helped them actually to increase significantly the user value by 20%. So this was a long section. I hope it was useful. So this leads us to the last part, which is about measurement and tracking. So it's very important actually to have a proper measurement and tracking in place. Without that, we will not be able actually to apply any strategy or recommendation that we give you previously. So today we want to give you an overview, but we will definitely organize a follow-up session on that section later on. So to give you a very large overview about key solutions on how to track events using AdWords. So the first possibility is codeless conversion tracking with Google Play, so linking Google Play to AdWords. Here it's quite limited since it's only for Android, and you will only be able to mainly track installs and purchases. So we have some restrictions in terms of number of in-app events that we can track. The second option, which we highly recommend to consider, is Firebase Analytics. That makes it very easy for you today also to share the data with AdWords. We have many clients asking whether Google Analytics is a better solution. So unfortunately, universal app campaigns are not really supported by Google Analytics because Firebase Analytics is much more adapted to the app strategies that we work on. Third, you may already be working with a third-party attribution solution such as AppsFlyer, Adjust, Tune, Kochava, or more. And here we are also able to set up the conversion tracking in AdWords by creating these in-app events and making sure that we connect both servers to start gathering the data. Finally, as mentioning, Firebase Analytics is a very powerful tool. On top of analytics, we want to share actually the value of the entire Firebase platform, which can really help in three main areas on top of analytics. So within the development of the app, the growth, and the earning part. So for example, with the development part is very valuable for your app developers, thanks to, for example, if you have you can run A/B testing if you want to improve and work on new features of your app. You can test it on a subset of existing users and understand how they use the new features of your app and keep improving the user experience. You can use crash reports and understand how crash impacts your app and impacts their users. And you can also run test labs. So for example, if you upgrade your apps to later versions, you can test it across multiple devices to make sure that, that everything works properly. Then on the growth phase, you can easily run push notification for existing users. It's a great way to re-engage with them and make sure you bring them back to your app. You can benefit from app indexing. So when users, they search for different terms on Google search, we can make here, redirect them to an existing page of your app. You can also create dynamic links. So dynamic links gives good context whether your app is only installed or not in the user device. And it actually has been shown that it leads to 80% more signups and 100% higher engagement levels. And then finally, on the earning point, you can leverage ad mob, ad optimization, and monetization, and have a clear overview of the performance results. So again, Firebase is on top of being able to analyze the in-app behavior of your users. You can actually work on what really matters as well, is the user experience, and make sure that you have a great app out on the market. So this is exactly how we try to focus on the app experience. So with Google Play, where you can list experiments, you can monitor the app statistics, review different alerts, you can gather all the feedback from your users. And with Firebase, you can focus on the user experience to different devices, and again, leverage crash reports that can really help you with debugging when that happens. So finally, we like to finish with these slides. It's quite important to keep it in mind that Google owns today 7 products that target over 1 billion users, whether it's Google Chrome, Android, Gmail, Maps, YouTube, Search, and Play. So what is very important for us is actually the user experience through our products. So we want to make the data that we share with them relevant and easy to find. And this is also how we can apply it to app promotion with Google, because we want to make sure that we target the right users for your app. So this leads us to the end of this live stream. We hope the overview was a good first step. We want to share feedback with you after this session to understand how we can further improve it in the future. We will also ask you if you're interested in engaging with us to know more. You can also feel free to reach out to your Google account manager if you want to understand more about ad promotion at Google. And stay tuned, because we will soon organize again a more specific session on tracking. So thank you for joining today.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.